When you try your best but you don't succeed. When you get what you want but not what you need. When you feel so tired but you can't sleep. Stuck in rivers.
I was baptized as an infant and raised in the church, and I knew God in my heart from a young age. But I didn't understand why my loving him had to come with so many conflicts.
And I just sought like freedom from that and closeness in my friendships. And my friendships quickly became something of a give and take kind of relationship.
I was doing drugs, smoking pot, having sex with them. I would do drugs on Saturday and get faded, then go to church on Sunday like God didn't hate it.
So after a while, I gave up trying to please him and did things my way.
I began to experiment with alcohol, which then turned into me smoking weed, and then through enough compromises, losing my virginity at age 18.
And I searched for love everywhere, but it really wasn't love. It was just attention, and it was from boys. And I hated the way that I looked and thought everyone else was beautiful. So the first boy that came close to calling me that was my new way of finding affection.
I remember praying about why God would love me with all my flaws, mistakes, and sinful nature. This concept was keeping me from fully accepting Christ in my heart because I couldn't imagine that a God as wonderful as he could love me so deeply.
One late night, almost 2 years ago, I was lying in bed trying to sleep. I was feeling completely alone and unloved, and I cried and prayed for some peace and rest.
In my junior year, I had one of my good friends pass away in a car accident. My boyfriend at the time and I decided that that's not how we wanted to really live our life, and so we decided to walk away from that lifestyle.
And that was all great until my aunt was diagnosed with cervical cancer. Through this experience and me witnessing a woman that was just loving life through the pain, God began to break my heart.
And life hit me harder than Balboa and Tyson. I was on my knees because I was deep in depression, crying towards the sky, wondering why I'm stressing. And I can say the Lord came down, he picked me up and saved me, even though I didn't care for him because I was stubborn as a baby.
As I was praying there with my eyes closed, I just saw an image of my brother. I heard something in the back of my mind say, "You love him for all his flaws and despite all the burdens he has created for your family. I love you like that and even more than you can imagine." I was overwhelmed at this incredibly personal response and I started to cry.
But this time my tears were a really big cleansing, as if written on each one was every hurtful word that had been said to me, and they were just leaving my body. And I gave my life to my Savior Jesus Christ that night. So actually, Mom, I did learn my lesson, but through a glorious love story where a father would die for his daughter.
I went off to college a few months later, wondering how to piece together my broken world. And after months of healing and learning of the magnitude of grace and forgiveness, I began to rest in the love of God. I didn't have to fight anymore because I knew where my worth came from. And if only I could trust him, he would give me nothing but his best.
I am so thankful that he watched over me all those years. He relentlessly pursued me, even when I doubted him, and he reached out with mercy to love and save me.
I realized that what was missing is I didn't really understand why Jesus had to die for me specifically. I just knew that he did. And so I learned that I and we all are sinners regardless of how big or small we think that was, and that there's no other way to pay for that price other than Jesus, who was fully man and fully God. That just accepting that gift and believing in him would assure my salvation forever, and I knew that was the part that was missing.
But after losing my way and by his grace finding it again, it has been a journey that took me from darkness into light. Every day walking and choosing to find him. And when I do that, he tells me this is all worth it. There is something bigger here that I can't see.
I still felt kind of awful about myself, but then Marriott Yost, he's not here, shared the verse 1 Peter 3:3-4. Your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as the wearing of gold jewelry and fine clothes. Instead, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight.
Some people say that after accepting Christ, their lives change dramatically. I can say that the Lord blessed me with a great life and wonderful parents who are here today, but what changed that night was my understanding of God's love for me and my new desire to lessen the amount of bad decisions I make in life. Not because I need to earn his love, but because he loves me.
Since then, I have now found joy in all things and I become dependent on Him to get me through whatever is in store because of His promise He declares in Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to give you a hope and a future.
Because He refined my silver and He tested my gold. He put me on the potter's wheel because I was ready to remold. A pencil He broke me because it was time to rebuild. I want to be just like Him, thinking about it gives me chills. He showed me this love that non-believers never feel. I cry with joy while He hugs me, it's so real. I'm grateful that He saved me from the devil's evil thrill. I love Him so much, for Him I'm willing to be killed. Because He spilled this love that I couldn't even imagine. And now the hope for my future I can't even fathom. And I told Him I'd never love Him, and now look what happened. True fulfillment comes through Jesus Christ. And when you realize that, that's when you're given life. So I'm putting the bullseye on my back. And Satan, let's start the spiritual warfare. You ask why I'm being baptized. Because the hope, the happiness, the love, nothing compares. Thank you.
I will try to fix you.
Based on your profession of faith in Jesus Christ
and your decision to follow Him for the rest of your life,
I baptize you in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and in the name of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. I now baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I baptize you in the name of the Father, and the Son.
Based on that faith in front of all these people, I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I now baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
I now baptize you in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit. You're buried with Him in baptism.
And I will try to fix you.